Tony Khan can't wait to beat SmackDown next week. Karrion Kross has given details behind his new gimmick. And we've got backstage WWE plans for Gable Steveson. Stay tuned. So, a pretty big edition of SmackDown set to take place next week. It's not regular size. It's time to supersize this mother flipper. We are getting a supersized edition of Friday Night SmackDown special event taking place in Ontario, Canada. It's not 2 hours. It's 2.5 hours, starting at 8, finishing at 10:30. Some big stuff announced there. You got Lesnar. He is going to be on the show. He's not wrestling. He's just going to be appearing. You got Becky versus Sasha, non-title. You got the King of the Ring and Queen's Crowns semis. And a big old return taking place as well. Somebody who we've not seen wrestle for a long, long time. We thought this might be a little bit sooner, actually. Just because the feud was really starting to heat up. Thought it might have taken place at the last pay-per-view. But no. Sonia Deville making her long-awaited return to in-ring action, taking on Naomi, of course. And that's good stuff. I'm looking forward to that. Oh, yeah,
for sure. And this is her first match since SummerSlam last year. She lost the Loser Leaves WWE match to Mandy. That, you know, in the fallout of the Mandy Otis Dolph situation, which she'd kind of been the catalyst in destroying all of that and kind of turning on her best friend. So she was sort of one of the more featured storylines at the time, and people have been really desperately kind of clamoring for her to return to the ring. But I think she's been doing really well with the Adam Pearce stuff, but ultimately we want to see Sonya Deville wrestle, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was such a shame, the timing of that. It was real life situation, and the stalker coming to her home and that. But she was somebody who was very much on the rise. And it's good to hear that, you know, she's doing a lot better now.
Yeah, for sure.
And it'll be good to see her back in the ring. One person that's not. Well, he is excited about the show. Oh, he's really shot fired.
He's
shot fired here.
Braggadocious, yeah. He's pewing off all over the place here.
Tony Khan tweeting out, I saw you're doing a half-hour head-to-head with us. I can't finally wait to beat your main show head-to-head. It's been a long time coming. See you next Friday for AEW Rampage on TNT. Well, that's really direct. He doesn't normally do stuff like that.
No, not at all, but it's proof that Tony hasn't been watching since like 2001. Main show? That's Raw. You know Raw's the main... No, this is huge.
They get more money from SmackDown. SmackDown's the flagship now.
The idea that, you know, we do have this crossover is quite mouth-watering. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of the demographics and any potential channel switches around this half-hour overlap, but I don't know, you know. What happens if it goes the other way, Tony? And you've just come out and pew all over. Like, this is, might. Yeah, like you're gonna have to pull something really big out the bag, I think.
Well, that's totally it. Like, if you put a Punk match as your opener, you're in with a decent chance. But I don't know if it'll be SmackDown's final half hour.
But this is it. It's sort of the SmackDown. Whenever they do a special SmackDown, it does tend to have bigger moments on it. It does tend to have that feel to it, and that extra half hour is going to be potentially beneficial, depending on how they use the rest of the time on the night. They could just cram it with, you know, a couple of promos, which would just be, but if they make good use of that, especially in the overlap, and you've got to think they're gonna do that in the overlap. They know what's at stake.
It'll be very interesting to see what SmackDown puts on last and what AEW put on first.
They just put on.
Is there any
sort
of indication
of SmackDown?
Is there any indication as to why WWE are running this longer show?
Yes. So basically, the MLB, the Major League Baseball, are currently in their playoff situation right now, the postseason. So that is going to be going up on the standard Fox channel where WWE would usually be, and so it's moving over to FS1 for this Supersized SmackDown.
And they've just got a bit of extra time. So this isn't a shot toward AEW.
No, it's probably like a bit of a make good, like, sorry we've moved you, but there is an actual, like, you know, there's another half hour there that needs filling. Do you want to do an extra long show? That's probably how the conversation went. But it's going to be interesting to see how people react to a 2.5 hour SmackDown as well, because, you know, they always hint at the fact that if they could get away with SmackDown being 3 hours, they would do it. And this is halfway there, isn't it, on that final hour? So
last night's SmackDown, we saw the first of a few matches in the King of the Ring and Queen's Cup tournament. We'll flash up the standings now. So the it's shaping up to be really, really interesting. I think especially on the men's side. I'm looking at the right hand side of that image now, and you've got Xavier Woods, Ricochet, Kofi, and Jinder, right? Which to me indicates that we're going to get Xavier versus Kofi. In the semis, and then I would imagine it would be great to see Xavier beat Kofi. Big old lovely hug at the end. Xavier goes through to the finals. But the one issue that we've got there, right, is that really, in my opinion, Xavier shouldn't win this year. I'd like to see that him do it next year. I think like you can get so much heat on somebody doing that. And then it feels even bigger next year. Like Xavier's done a great job of making this tournament feel very important anyway. But you look at the left-hand side of the standings there, and you got Ray, Sammy, you got Cesaro, Finn. Obviously, this changed a little bit last night because of some of the results. But the only heel on that left-hand side is Sami Zayn. And I've been thinking about this. And like, if Sammy, of course, won last night, he's progressed through to the semis. The issue that we've got here is Sammy can't compete in Saudi Arabia, so he's not going to be because of his Syrian heritage. He's never performed before, and I don't think he'd be allowed to do so. So I guess it's my guess, right, is Finn versus Xavier in the finals.
The one thing I think going for a potential Xavier win this year is just think about how good a king he would be. I think he would get the gimmick unlike anybody else in the last God knows how many times they've ran it. Barrett was good. Sheamus afterwards, it just tapered off. Corbin did well, but it just kind of meandered on for so long, didn't it? But I think Xavier Woods is the perfect person for that role. But as you said, it just does feel a little bit too early, maybe.
I agree, and you know what? I wouldn't be upset if Xavier did win, but I think there's a lot more to gain from having Xavier lose this year because you can get loads of heat on somebody. But then again, looking at the left side of that tournament bracket. There's nobody there that's heel that can actually go to Saudi Arabia to do it in the final. So maybe Finn a heel turn. I'd love to see Finn beat him. Oh, that'd be cool. And turn heel in the process. Just because like the Prince character in NXT as a heel, I think was stronger than what we're getting now, which feels like a bit of a watered down version. And so we'll just a quick update now, obviously on last night's. We had Sami Zayn and Finn Balor advance on the men's side. That right-hand side of the bracket is untouched at the moment. And we had Carmella and Zelina Vega advance on the women's side.
Yes.
Shame for Toni Storm.
Yeah, I was surprised. I figured Toni Storm was going to be featured quite heavily throughout the tournament, but I guess they've got other plans for her, you know?
That's Shayna's tournament. That's Shayna's tournament. And also, may we never see Liv Morgan versus Carmella again. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Next up, Karrion Kross giving details on his new gimmick. He's been chatting away on Table Talk, and he said, "I'd received a briefing about a creative team conversation attempting to expand on the original concept that was presented during NXT. I guess it was a team of people. The direction I think they were attempting to go in was essentially a gladiator idea, not a gimp. My original concept was like, this feels like what the Colosseum days would be like, with the character presentation of Karrion Kross and the development. This wasn't just a regular match people were getting into. Win or lose, you might not be coming out the same way. I was attempting to project that sort of energy into it. What they wanted to do when they saw I was coming was play off that. That's where we're at. Right, I was reading this and I was just like, man, that's really awesome. Like his idea there is just like you are changed by being in a match with Karrion Kross, and instead we got the silly mask and the gimp outfit, and he's quite an intelligent, articulate guy here who's really, really passionate about his character, and they've done him dirty, haven't they?
This is it. I think I don't so much have a gripe with the idea of having a gladiatorial character, but it's the nature in which it is proper. It's. I don't know, if it was going to be a gladiator, you'd expect it to be kind of dirty and a bit bloody, and it's all kind of just neat brown leather, brand new mask, and it's all a bit... It's kind of like they've dipped their toe into the idea and just went, run with it. And it needs fleshing out a little bit more. And if commentary can get over the fact that interaction with him changes you, and that interaction does things to you, and no matter what, or no matter who you are, you could be somebody like The Undertaker, you get into the ring with him, and it's going to affect you in some way. That would really help solidify what people are kind of crapping on for the visual side of it. So
yeah, I agree. but instead they went to love, honey.
Yeah.
Finally, WWE's plans for Gable Steveson being revealed in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. He was, of course, drafted, which was a big surprise. He was drafted to Raw as part of the 2021 draft, but don't expect to see him especially soon.
No.
WWE reportedly looking at WrestleMania 38 being Gable Steveson's debut. Observer report that WWE wants to pepper Steveson into their programming over the coming months and then having appear regularly following the college amateur wrestling schedule ending in March of 2022. So we might see him, but don't expect to see him wrestle.
Yeah.
Until that point.
He'd been saying he was going to make appearances during the school year and things like that because he's in college. He's got a brilliant amateur wrestling career going there, and he needs to make those obligations. He signed with the WWE under some sort of NCAA style deal, like most college athletes would have. So they're really, really going out of their way to accommodate him here because it's unlike any sort of offer we've seen from WWE before. They're allowing him to maintain his schedule. They're allowing him to train and appear as and when he can. They're even building him, or not building him, but they're setting him up probably in some nearby venue, his own training facility close to the university campus, which is going to feature, it's going to have his own personal WWE trainers. He doesn't then have to fly all the way to Florida and back to Minnesota. He can just finish up for the day, go round a few nights a week and start to get really into it in the ring. And it's huge. Like, they must really see a massive potential upside in Gable Steveson to be making all of these, kind of...
These investments.
Yeah,
in, right?
investments.
I can't think of anyone who's had this sort of treatment previously.
I mean,
you can think of people who have had big money deals and stuff, but setting up your own training facility and stuff like that, they see something massive in him.
Yeah, I mean, somebody coming in from the outside world of sports. So you had Mark Henry, for example. Mark Henry's contract, that's kind of the only thing that popped to mind was the fact that he was offered...
like 10 years at $1 million a year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was something like that, and it was just a huge deal straight in, and they tried to make a very big deal of him, but kind of fumbled him a lot, and hopefully it's not going to go that way this time. But that's the first thing that popped into my head was like, it's kind of like one of those really big offers, isn't it? Like, we'll look after you, we'll make sure you're taken care of, just do everything we say, and it'll all be grand.
Well, I can't wait to see Sexual Chocolate 2.0 in Gable Steveson.
Oh, God.
Right, that's us. We'll be back in a little bit with some more news. Take care of yourselves. In
Bye.
a bit.